Some snazzy new travel graphics
like
there.
That.
So checking luggage at airports before a flight can sometimes take a while. Agents have to weigh the bag and then print the sticker and then put it on the suitcase.
That's right. Now, new changes are coming that could make the process much faster. Joining us now is travel insider Mark Murphy. He's also the president and CEO of Travel Alliance Media. Mark, thanks for being here.
Thanks.
So tell us about this new baggage check change.
Well, it's not that new in the sense that about a year ago, Air France started to introduce it. It's basically, think of it as a fob that goes on your bag that connects your bag with your flights to that particular airline so that you can bypass about 5 or 6 minutes of the check-in process and get your bag on the way. That's pretty much it. And then since it's GPS enabled, it allows the airline to track your bag should it become lost. So they're hoping it creates fewer stresses around lost luggage.
All morning long, we've been talking about the United Airlines ground stoppage, which was due to a computer glitch. If there's one thing that you hate, which is not to be able to board your flight, there's another thing you hate, is to get your destination and find that your luggage that's supposed to be in Cleveland is in Boise.
So is this going to help that or hurt that? We don't know because it's technology, right? So it's designed to help it. It's going to affect airline workers potentially because you don't need as many airline workers, just like you don't see as many gate agents or ticket agents checking you in at the main gates, at the main ticket counter. You won't see them doing this with the luggage because they're just going to come in and drop the luggage and it's already going to know what flight you're on. You're not going to have to put the label on it or any of those other things. So that's an interesting development. I think it's about the airlines getting more efficient and more profitable.
When could this be a reality here in the U.S.?
It's already starting the process. There are companies that are introducing it. So I think it's sooner versus later. We don't have an exact timetable.
All right.
All right. Well, if you hate jam-packed flights, there's a new patent by Airbus that could become a reality, and the skies could get a bit more crowded. So, Mark, tell us what Airbus is proposing.
Okay, so double-decker plane, but the key is they already have the A380, which is a double-decker plane. This is designed to put a lot of passengers on, but the key is, I know the A380 cannot land at certain airports. It's just too big, right? So the infrastructure of the airports can't handle it, so Airbus has filed this patent. But there's also another interesting thing. In addition to having a plane that can basically land in these airports, you're going to have a massive increase in travelers in the next decades. So part of the strategy is to create aircraft to accommodate those increased passengers without having to build lots of new airports, lots of new runways, et cetera. This might be a solution. It's also flexible on the inside because they can slide the seats based on the patent application, and it's combination cargo and seats. So imagine you have more people, more seats, and they can do it overnight versus having to take the plane out of service for a few days to actually install new seats, take seats out. It's a flexible aircraft, almost like a ballroom at a hotel. I'm going to have a 50-person party? No, it's going to be 500, and they basically expand it and contract it that way. That's the concept, at least.
What are the drawbacks of having such big planes?
Lots of people. Oh my God. Yeah. You know, just lots of people, and then deplaning them. But we've seen the cruise industry handle it with these big mega ships. We're going to see the airlines be able to do that and be able to deplane people because that's part of this patent as well, to get them off the plane quickly.
But instead of staying in traditional hotels, many Americans are opting for other rental options like Airbnb.
Sure.
But what happens when a house or an apartment looks fantastic online and you arrive and it's far from what you expected? So, Mark, you recently stayed at an Airbnb in New York City. Tell us what happened.
Okay, so I booked it. It looked great in the pictures. It wasn't cheap. I show up. There's garbage on the floor.
Oh,
the bed's not made. There's dirty sinks, dirty towels in the sink. It's filthy. I reach out to the host because Airbnb arranged it, but the host is the person I'm reaching out to. She doesn't call me back. I wait 90 minutes. I'm standing on the streets in New York. I then turn to Airbnb and I say, hey, you need to fix this. They say, oh, I'm sorry, but you're outside the 24-hour zone for, fixing these problems. Now you have to go back to the host. Well, 24 hours later, and a lot of back and forth, in about 5 hours of my time, eventually Airbnb made it right. They spoke to me last night. They gave me a $200 credit towards a future stay to get me back. They gave me a $100 credit for a dinner that I'm going to take advantage of tonight. And they went ahead, even though it was outside the terms and conditions, they realized it was extenuating because I had backup. Take photos if you have this experience. I said, this is the property. And they said, thank you for documenting it. And they refunded the full amount. Now they'll go to that host who's already been paid and who refuses to refund it on her side.
What is she saying is the problem? I mean, I don't understand how you can do this.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It really is. I said it was really pathetic how she was handling it, that this is something, I don't believe her reviews. And that's another thing you got to worry about on these reviews. Who's reviewing these people? Because this was a 5-star property, and I'm thinking, 5 stars? How do you define 5 stars, which is the challenge with social media? I may have a different opinion of 5 stars versus the other guy, and it's a little bit of buyer beware. Keep in mind, I've used Airbnb now. This will be the 4th time, And I've had 2 great experiences, 1 mediocre experience, 1 terrible experience. So you just have to know that just like renting from somebody's house on VRBO or HomeAway, you got to do your homework. And if you know somebody who's stayed there and has vetted it personally and you trust that person, that's the best approach. Worst case, turn to Airbnb and make sure you don't stop with the first person that says no, which I didn't. I pressed it, and I finally got this great lady on the phone last night who very calmly said, we blew it. We need to fix this. And kudos to Airbnb for setting the record straight.
Mark Murphy, you just didn't know that New York City, the 5-star review could just mean that they're on Fifth Avenue, or they have the view of the park, and not the interior of the place. What are you, crazy?
Was it Fifth Avenue or Fifth Street? I'm so confused.
Exactly. Travel Insider Mark Murphy, thanks so much.